You're watching Swipe from the Royal Society Summer Science Exhibition, and here's a little taste of what we'll be bringing you on this week's show.
Alex looks at what could be a virtual reality solution for anxiety, while I step into the world of forensics with some revealing new software. And our games reviewer's got what he says might just be his favourite title of the year.
Welcome to Swipe from what is the oldest scientific academy in continuous existence. Here at the Royal Society, they've been running their summer science exhibition all week, bringing together some of the country's best researchers. And Alex has already been getting hands-on with some of the exhibits. Here he is with a digital project designed to help people deal with mental health problems.
So I bet you've tracked your footsteps or monitored your heart rate or counted your calories, and if you haven't, you know someone who has. So from wearables to smartphones, when it comes to our tech, our physical health is covered. But when was the last time you checked in with your thoughts, your feelings, anxieties?
Well, researchers are now using virtual reality to help children cope with anxiety.
So at the moment, how we've designed it, it's just for assessment purposes. So it's just to get an idea of how young people feel in social situations. But our plan is to develop this canteen environment into a therapy. So for children who are particularly anxious in social situations, and we can then over therapeutic sessions with a psychologist, we can manipulate the environment to increase the level of stress.
Somebody's just told me that I can't sit next to him.
Yes.
And he's put his bag on the chair.
Yeah.
So obviously this is the kind of thing that could happen in a canteen. I mean, he seems particularly mean because
Yeah.
there are lots of spare chairs. But
So some young people will perceive it as quite hostile that the kid has put the bag on the chair. Yeah. But other people sort of interpret it as, okay, he is genuinely waiting for someone and don't feel threatened by it at all. So if you wanted to measure the same thing in real life, you can't control the environment in exactly the same way for each young person. So with virtual reality, you can put them in realistic situations and give everyone exactly the same experience, and then you can look at the differences in how they feel, how they interpret those interactions.
So first of all, I find a worry that I'm having. I tap on the bubble.
If virtual reality can help in therapy, the team believe a smartphone app could help in, well, reality, as and when worries arise.
The app asked me to slow down the worry, so I tap on the spinning worry bubble. This is encouraging me to take a moment to think the worry through.
do you see something like this replacing the conventional therapist?
We don't so much see it as replacing the conventional therapist, but it's a way of really helping to improve access to psychological therapies. We know that there's not enough supply at the moment to meet the need and the demand.
So for this kind of tech to really take off, there needs to be a shift in the way we all see our mental health, from something we only look at when there's a problem to something we keep track of in our daily lives. But demand for help is high and resources are stretched. So it's an interesting idea that the tech we already have around us could put a therapist in our pocket.
Here's something you can't fit in your pocket. Stay with us, because still to come, I'll be finding out how much information a footprint from my old trainers can reveal about me with some new forensic science software. That's coming right up after a roundup of this week's tech news.
Volvo's on course to be the first mainstream car manufacturer to produce only electric or hybrid vehicles. From 2019, all of its models will have an electric motor. Also this week, American firm Tesla announced its first mass-market electric car. The Model 3 will go on sale later this month after passing regulatory requirements. Schools have issued warnings about a recent location-sharing feature on Snapchat, which it's feared could potentially be exposing children to stalkers. It allows users to see where their friends are on a map. The company has stressed, though, that Snap Map is an opt-in feature, and you won't be pinpointed unless you switch it on.
Lovely.
And we got an update on how human-like sex robots could impact society. The Foundation for Responsible Robotics suggests the bots could potentially provide a service for disabled or elderly people, as well as be used for entertainment. But it's warned the revolution could also be dangerous.
Your end is on the cards.
Stick around for our games review in just a few minutes. We've got a fantasy card game spin-off. But before that...
Now, one of the exhibits that's really caught my eye here is one that links dinosaurs to modern-day criminals, and it's all to do with footprint analysis. Professor Matthew Bennett can tell us a bit more, and this is all about software that you've come up with.
It is. So over the years we've studied fossil footprints, dinosaurs, ancient humans. We've developed lots of software to help us analyse it, and we've translated that for use by the police and forensic services recently.
And we've got a scanner right here.
We've got a scanner here that will take a picture or an impression of the sole of your feet, and that's the first step in analysing footwear evidence.
Now, I'm wearing a pair of my oldest trainers because I heard that you can get a better reading from an older pair of trainers. Is that true?
That's true. You stand on the scanner and then walk forward, placing one foot in there, and the picture appears here.
Oh, it's instant.
So that's the sole of your trainers. Very, very distinctive. I know you said they were old, but they're not that old, because you can still see very nice tread patterns on them, but also you can begin to see fairly distinctive patterns of wear, where everybody walks different because we're all built slightly differently, and that is manifest in the way our soles of our shoes wear down in different patterns. Quite distinctive.
And the software you've been working on is even more advanced, and you can make them into 3D images, yeah?
Yes, 3D. The key thing is that at the moment at a crime scene, if it's a really important crime scene, they'd still be using technology that's 100 years old. They'd be putting plaster into the track and casting it. But what we're able to do is taking 20 additional photographs with a normal digital camera, which takes about a minute and a half of extra time at the crime scene, bring that back, and within 3 or 4 minutes of processing, you're able to create a digital model like that one.
And how much more information can this tell you compared to the traditional way that police were using?
Okay, well, what we've just scanned your trainers was 2-dimensional. This is 3-dimensional information, which gives you a lot of information about the tread details, the depth distribution, tells you about weight distribution on the person, the biomechanics of the individual. And when you go on and look at 1 or 2 other things in the software, you can begin to compare different shoes.
How difficult was it to come up with the computer science behind this? Because you're a geologist, aren't you?
Yeah, I am, but I can visualize the problem, and I can talk to the coders, the computer science experts, to actually build and blend different things. So we write a bit ourselves, but we also use a lot of open source code. And open source code is community code that's developed by people working in their back bedrooms for the love of coding. And as a community project, they develop little algorithms to do some really cool things.
Video games time now, and this week it's Gav's turn in the hot seat. Here he is with his pick of latest releases.
Goner is a side-scrolling shooter that everyone is saying is roguelike, because basically what that means is you die a lot. But that's kind of the point of it, because you are actually helping out death. So you're going around the place shooting things, and the idea is that if you're good enough, Death's going to give you back the life of your friend, Sally, who's a giant space whale. It's pretty weird, but it looks lovely, and to be fair, even though I didn't really play it on Steam, for Switch, it's absolutely perfect, because it's a lovely little handheld thing that when you should get annoyed with it, you can put it down, go back to it, and then maybe take a little bit of time, go have another go, and you might be better at it. If you, as I said, if you didn't play it on Steam, Switch is the perfect way to play this game. So you remember Fable, the slightly naughty RPG that had a really, really silly British sense of humour because it was made by British developers Lionhead. Well, when that studio got shut down, a couple of developers left with the Fable license, and they decided to sort of make a game in the same vein as Fable, but instead of being an RPG, it's a collectible card game. It's actually really good. Like, a lot of people sort of compared it to Hearthstone in that kind of way, that it's going to be a competitive card game. I never really got into Hearthstone because it was really, really hard, but there's something about Fable that's a little bit more inviting. I don't know if that's the fact that it's a co-op game, so if you can find someone who's better than you, they kind of like rub off on you a little bit. Even if you have never played a card game before, it's going to hit early access soon, and then it's going to be free to play, so you might as well have a go on it. I genuinely think Friday the 13th on the PlayStation 4 is going to be up there with one of my games of the year. It's basically you as a counsellor in the world of Friday the 13th, or as Jason Voorhees, the naughty guy in Friday the 13th. And you have two different jobs. As the counsellor, your job is to escape or to stop Jason by a bunch of very different means. It's all a multiplayer game, all online, and it's got this amazing thing on it, which is like close circuit chat. So the chat is always on, but you'll only hear people if they're close to you. So as you're walking around, like searching for, weapons to try and kill Jason, or car keys, or a car battery, or something like that, if somebody comes close to you, that's when you can hear them talking. Like, what are you doing? Okay, what have you got? Have you got the keys? Have you got the battery? Have you got the petrol? And in a similar way, Jason can then hear you if he's close to you. But it's brilliant. It's really fun if you die, but it's also really fun if you get away. And there's not many games that are as fun to play, even if you're dying, I think. So you should definitely have a go on that.
Well, that's it for this week's show, but don't forget to follow us on Twitter @SkyNewsSwipe for loads of behind-the-scenes stuff throughout the week. I'll be back next week. I hope you can join us then. Bye-bye.